Welcome to Pursuit and Pause. My name is Paige.
And I'm Hannah, and together we are working towards living slow, intentional, and deeply rooted lives.
Today we are talking all things image and beauty, two things we're very passionate about. Hannah, first, how would you say we probably both define beauty?
So I would say beauty is what's inside. It's the character, it's the purpose, it's what's inside and comes out. It's the stuff that I don't count beauty as like, right, oh, she's so gorgeous, supermodel kind of thing. It's like I love seeing people happy and present and just in love with their lives. To me, that is way more beautiful than having the quote unquote perfect image. To me, beauty is what comes out from deep inside of you versus what's on the outside. How about you?
Yeah, I would have to agree. You could be the most prettiest, beautiful person ever, like in someone's eyes, but if you are rude, kind of stuck up, as people would say, um, yeah, you're not going to be like the most beautiful person anymore, when someone starts talking to you. I think it really is how someone carries themselves, how they treat others, and kind of like how much is self work they've done for themselves as well to be confident, but enough like to kind of love themselves, because I feel like if you don't love yourself, you're going to be mean to others, and it kind of shows out. But I think it all comes down to how you treat others is what reflects your beauty, not necessarily your looks. Your looks are just a plus, I guess you could say. It's just like what God gave you. It's a plus, but it's really how you treat others is how you'll be perceived by others when it comes to beauty.
And obviously, that definition is a
Yeah.
little bit different than what
Mm-hmm.
society at large views beauty, right? When we talk about beauty in the society's eyes, we're usually talking about the physical appearance, right? The
Mm-hmm.
assets. Oh, they have a great butt or a great shape,
Right.
or they look like a supermodel, or look at their clothes,
Mm-hmm.
look how much they're showing off, look at their face. Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's not beautiful because she doesn't have like the high cheekbones. I don't even know what's
Mm-hmm.
in 90% of the
Yeah.
time anymore.
It changes all the time.
But like, right, it's in the world and society at large, right? It's aesthetics, and they talk
Yeah.
down on when they comment a lot on people's beauty or lack
Mm-hmm.
thereof. It's usually pointing out, right, the humanity in all of us, right? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, she lost her beauty when she had kids. I'm like, for crying out
Mm-hmm.
loud, having kids changes your body physically from
Yeah.
the inside.
Yeah.
Like, you're growing,
Mm-hmm.
like, you're carrying around an extra 10,
Image.
20, 30 pounds of fluid and baby. Like, it all depends. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, like, I have a
Yeah.
lot of hot takes on that. But, like, when we're going to talk about beauty, for the most part in this episode, we're talking about the inner stuff. And that
Yeah.
image is, in my eyes, how do you see yourself? Like, what is,
Mm-hmm.
how are you treating yourself and how are you viewing yourself, right? When we talk about body image or just the image you want to show to others, right? It's how do your eyes interpret things? And that image can also then apply to other people. How do you see other people? That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
how I would define that. Any things you want to add to that definition page before we?
No. Yeah. I mean, I mean, the body image thing, hits home, I think, in regards to just, how you see yourself. And yeah, I think I would agree with that definition.
So let's start with body image, obviously. That's
Yeah.
the one that pretty much I feel like
How do we see ourselves?
most women have struggled with this
Mhm.
some way or shape or form.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
I think a lot of men
especially,
have too, but primarily we talk to
yeah.
women on this podcast,
Yeah.
so we're just gonna have
Especially
fun.
since social media. Yeah. And with social media, like, especially ever since that has existed, we've all struggled with it. I can probably guarantee.
Yeah, and so it can feel very overwhelming, right? We feel as women, we take society's gaze in a different level than men do. Um, there are a myriad of reasons for that. That's not where we're going to go down that rabbit hole. That's another rabbit hole. That's not the one we're choosing today. But
Yeah.
we can deal with the problem of this is what we think society views us as, this is what we think society wants us to look like, and then this is how we
Yeah.
see ourselves. And usually, somewhere along the way, at some point in our life, it's distorted. Distorted, distorted. And we are seeing ourselves in a way that's not true or accurate or gracious. So what have been your experiences with the lovely joy of body image?
Yeah, so it's been big for me. It's been a big thing in my entire life because I've been overweight ever since I could remember, since kindergarten. And I never really, there'd been some comments growing up and stuff about my weight, but nothing like, not any really terrible bullying. But I would say once I've always known I'm overweight, but like I was a kid, so I never prioritized it. I had to eat what my parents fed me. The activity I got was kind of up to them and my school. But growing up, I kind of started battling with it when my friends started getting boyfriends and, just things like that. I start comparing. And I mean, that's been the cycle all through high school. I did lose some weight in high school and I've noticed how different people treated me when I was skinnier than when I was overweight. And yeah, so, and here I am again on another weight loss journey. Like, it's just a never ending cycle my entire life. So that's been a big struggle with my body image and trying so hard to not compare myself to others, especially even people, around me. Um, but because I've always kind of pictured myself as a shy, like not as confident person, like that's how I feel. I'm like, man, why can't I be that bubbly girl? And I think it's just all about like finding qualities, like even though I'm shy, like I'm a great listener, you know, like I am a very good observer, and those are the benefits of being a shy person. You listen better than maybe that bubbly person, and you just kind of have to change your perspective on how you perceive yourself. Like, yeah, you may have this quality, but this quality is beneficial in this aspect, or yeah, okay, I have this quality, and yeah, now as an adult, it's like, okay, now I can fix it. Now I can take control of my weight or of this or of that, and fix the problem, figure out the main issue, and tackle it. And even when someone does lose weight, for example, they think it'll solve all their unhappiness, and but once they lose the weight, they're still unhappy, and it's because they didn't fix their mental state. They didn't fix their perception. And I think it's so important to really, as much as people focus on their beauty and their self image, they really need to work on their mental state and how they perceive themselves, because that is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's been my battle. But what about you, Hannah?
So I, for lack of a better term, was kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. I
Yeah.
was in very, very rail thin. Um, I don't think you stopped seeing my ribs until I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I got the other end of the comment. So, like, do you eat anything? I've been accused multiple times of being anorexic.
Mm.
I'm not. I did, I've gotten a lot better, but I did have issues where when I was super anxious, I'd lose my appetite. Anxiety, depression cut my appetite down significantly. And so there were definitely times where I was chronically under eating and I didn't realize that just because of stress.
Mm-hmm.
But I was never intentionally doing that from an image perspective.
Yeah.
But I thought I was invisible. I spent a lot of time watching everybody else get more attention. I have two younger sisters, and they were always right. Every guy in the world always wanted my sister right beneath me, like all of them did, and nobody ever looked twice at me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that as my youngest sister has gotten older, she's beautiful. She is definitely. She's also of the three of us the most like traditionally quote unquote beautiful. She's the tall, curvy, long hair. Like she's gorgeous, and that is hard, right? You always feel, right, that everybody else is getting paid attention to. And all of my
Mhm.
friends, like, everybody else had boyfriends or people would flirt with them. And then there was me. And I really didn't fit in my skin. Um, I went through a lot of phases with what I wore and just feeling very uncomfortable, trying to be as invisible as humanly possible. Uh, and I didn't think very highly of myself. I was very ashamed of the way I looked. I didn't like that I was so skinny that if people saw me in I swam competitively for several years, and when people would see me in a swimsuit, that's when the comment about anorexia or seeing my ribs and well-meaning people, I think for the most
Mhm.
part, just not very appropriate to say to it
Yeah.
without context and without like actually understanding what's going on. Because like these are people that if you like watched me in our tent, like when between events,
Mhm.
like I was always eating. Like that was not the problem. Um,
Mhm.
and you would see, right, if you looked back at what I wore in junior high, high school, it was very, very covered up, very tomboyish. Did not really care about the way I looked, and it's taken me a long time to feel beautiful in my own skin. I finally, like, I had no curves. Like, God gave me negative curves, which is fine. I have my
Yeah.
mom's body, and my mom always thought it was the kids that gave her hips and everything, but we've discovered it's actually not just the kids, it was also that age. I didn't really develop curves until I was about 24 um, and 25. So over like the last 2 years, my body has massively changed. This is the first time I've jumped pant size, bra size, shirt size ever. I was wearing the same
Mhm.
clothes. I was in the same size I was for since I was probably 15. Um,
Mhm.
that's been a new challenge, right? I'm glad my body is changing because I know it's good. I know it's healthy. It's hard when your
Mhm.
body changes because you're so used to things fitting and feeling one way
Yeah.
that getting comments or having to change those things can be really hard. Also, it's really
Mhm.
frustrating when you like have everything you love and now none of it fits. Um,
Yeah.
and you just lack that confidence. And so balancing that has been a challenge. I'm very grateful that Jake has never once made me doubt that he sees me as beautiful, um, which has really been helpful. But it's still
Mhm.
there's still the moments where it's like, okay, the body image
Yeah.
gets in my head like everybody,
Mhm. Oh yeah, 100%.
and I
It's so easy.
and I think like it's a good reminder that it doesn't really matter what you look like from the outside. It
Mhm.
still
Yeah.
probably messes with your head. And the people's
Mhm.
comments still really messed with your head.
Yeah.
Because even if you are, right? I looked at so many people who probably wished they looked like me and I wished I looked like them, right? And
Yeah.
vice
Yeah.
versa. So
Mhm.
comparison is real.
100%. Yeah, 100% real. My sister, she has tanner skin. She grew up always skinny, and so I can relate with you with comparing yourself to your sisters because I did too. In regards to like our weight. I couldn't wear the cute clothes she always wore. It was just different, and I noticed it, and I didn't like it, but I kind of just accepted it.
Yeah.
Too, and especially growing up. So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. And and as we've said, like your perception of yourself changes, right? I look back and I
Mhm.
see a girl that I have a lot more empathy for, and I wish she didn't think so poorly of herself. Like I wish she had the
Yeah.
confidence to feel beautiful in who she was and to show up and to do those things because I know how isolating some of that time
Yeah.
was. Um,
Yeah.
so, is there anything, if you could go back to a younger version of yourself that you wish you could give her?
Yeah. Well, one would be I used to never be able to leave the house without putting makeup on. I would make my boyfriend at the time wait 30 minutes or so just so I could put a face on to, I don't know, go to, the mall or whatever. Like, I could not ever leave, but I would say now, you don't need that. You don't need the makeup. Like, you're fine, you're beautiful without it. But it was a standard, that was put on me at the time to, have my eyebrows filled in and my mascara, my lashes super long, and, all of that. But also, when I lost the weight in high school, I kind of dealt with a little bit of body dysmorphia, and I don't think I realized how small I was at the time. And I think I would just go back and, tell myself, good job, you lost the weight, but to realize all the hard work, that you put in and that you actually did the thing. And I don't know, kind of celebrate it more. Um, I've had a comment too that I was looking anorexic in a photo, and it's like, I was just unhealthy, and now I'm healthy, but now I'm still getting comments on this end. So I would just like remind myself, or, tell myself, like, you did a great job, you took care of yourself, now keep going. Like, don't give up because of these comments or because of lifestyles, or, the lifestyle of others around you.
Mm-hmm.
You know. What about you?
I would tell myself to just own who I was, because there was so
Mm,
much that I cared about what people thought about me. I'm a people pleaser to my
yeah.
core. I was so much about, I'm too loud, I'm too this. I wasn't confident in who I was. And there were reasons for that, right? I did say some dumb stuff. I was a junior high schooler. Like, they're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Like, we accept this. But I wish I'd showed up
Yeah.
and, like, cared about my personality and been there. Because I can
Yeah.
die. I lost that. And then losing that then
Hmm.
just completely tanked my
Yeah.
ability to be confident in the way I showed up in the world. And that
Hmm.
impacted where I looked. I I've always looked pretty young. So when you lined me up next to my sisters, I was pretty much always guessed as the youngest sister. And that
Hmm.
can really mess with your head when there's 2 to 4 years of difference between 18
Yeah.
months between me and my next sister, and then another 2 years between her and my next sister. So there's a
Hmm.
big age gap. And
Yeah.
it's hard when people are like, oh my goodness, you're the baby. And
Hmm.
then I chose a career where I worked at that time with primarily older patients. And
Yeah.
I felt like there was so much pressure to look like the perfect adult.
And they're always so honest with you.
Yes.
Like, they will tell you if you are not looking good that
Yeah.
day. Like, they do not
Or
care.
patients who would like say like, oh, she's too young, she doesn't know what she's doing.
Hmm.
And that
You
really,
can't.
yeah, it really messed with my head through internships and then into my first real job. And I would always have to put on makeup, and like, right, I wore business casual clothes, and like, even that, like, they weren't things that I loved and I was comfortable with. It was always, how do I
Hmm.
look old enough to be here? And then came the pandemic. And when I finally went back to work, right, I was laid off for
Hmm.
several months, like most everybody was. We were non-essential healthcare, working in an outpatient private practice. Um, so all the non-essential staff was like, oh, we had 2 people working throughout the pandemic, seeing emergency cases. But when I finally came back, we were in masks, 20, like, all day in the office, and I stopped wearing makeup because I didn't, what was the point of wearing it
Right,
and then
right.
putting a mask on? And like,
Yeah.
I hated the look of makeup in my mouth. It freaked me out.
I stopped wearing it too during the pandemic when I was working at the hospital. I was like, there's no
Yeah.
point.
And I think that really broke another level of like the body image stuff for me, because it was like,
Yep.
I never, I had confidence coming back to work. And I don't know what happened in that break, but like, coming back, I was like, oh, I know these things. And I'm a good therapist, and I know what I know, and I'm a very good vestibular therapist at what I did. And I no longer, because I was confident in who I was, I no longer
Yeah.
got those comments, even though you look at pictures, I look even younger because,
Hmm.
I am happy and healthy and I'm not wearing makeup, I'm wearing the clothes I love.
Hmm.
Because, like,
Yep.
I was content in who I was. And then my next job
Hmm.
was even more so that way. I don't think my next job ever saw me with makeup. Like, I don't think anybody
Yeah.
ever saw me wearing makeup um,
Hmm.
at that job. And that's,
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's like, oh, never wear makeup. I choose not to, mainly because I'm lazy. Two, because I'm comfortable with
Hmm.
how I look without it, and I'm used to how I look without it.
Mm-hmm.
I am working to wear it more because I know Jake really likes it when I dress up, and like he knows that I
Yeah.
did that special for him for like dates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something I am working
Yeah.
on and looking at getting some stuff that will suit my like skin and also my time
Mm-hmm.
feelingness a little bit better. But
Yeah.
it's interesting how, right, little things like that that you used as a crutch all of a sudden resolve.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like Paige said,
Like, oh, yeah.
going back and telling
Mm-hmm.
your younger self that you don't need to put on 20 minutes of makeup to go out to the mall. Like, nobody
Mm-hmm.
cares. It's not
Yeah.
that serious.
Right. Yeah. It's all in your head. It really is.
And
Um, Go ahead.
and your head's not usually correct or nice, especially when
Right.
you're a junior high
Usually.
in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Just an
Yep.
FYI.
Yes.
So how
So what is the? Oh,
so how
go
about for
ahead.
you? Like, what are some of those big shifts that you can kind of look at and go like, okay,
Yeah.
this is how that
Yeah.
happened?
I would agree with the whole makeup ordeal because I was wearing a lot of makeup still at the hospital. When I realized, like, what's the point of me wasting my foundation? Because makeup is not cheap, okay? Like, foundation's $40 a bottle at least, if you buy it from Ulta, like, not a drugstore makeup. And so I was like, I'm wasting makeup. No one's seeing my face. Who am I wearing this makeup for? I mean, yes, it helps with confidence when I'm out and about, but other than that, I'm like, what am I doing? Everyone's just seeing like this much of my face. So I wore a lot less makeup than working at the hospital in 2020. And ever since then, it's kind of dwindled down. And also, my type of makeup I've used has dwindled down as well. Like, I only use like CC creams, or right now I'm wearing Adele Cosmetics, which is just like one that you like one of the foundation sticks you can just swipe right on your face and just pat it down. It's super like I've simplified my makeup routine so much now. And if I looked back at what I was wearing back in high school, I would flip. I'm like, how was I wearing that much makeup? Or like that cakey
Oh,
feeling I can't stand anymore. So yeah, but back in the day, I definitely wore that. Like, I was that
and my
girl.
skin
But
cannot stand it anymore.
yeah,
Like,
and my skin looks healthier now than it did back then. I would think, I would say, from what I remember. But yeah, I my perception that on that alone has changed a lot. But I would say that now, being an adult and, being independent, I now just have more control. So it's changed a lot of my perception of myself. And, like, I still struggle with my weight, but I'm working with a coach and I'm taking control of things of my health, of things, that I can fix. And it's not really a beauty thing. It's more of I want to get healthy thing. Changing that perspective really helps because then it changes the focus from looking a certain way to feeling a certain way.
yeah,
Ever since I started working out, I'm more energetic. My brain, like, I no more, like, a lot less brain fog, especially when I work out in the morning before work. I'm a lot more sharp. Just benefits like that where I'm not necessarily focusing on my weight, on the number of the scale, how many inches I've lost. That alone there has my perspective has changed so much because back in the day when I was on my weight loss journey, I was weighing myself every day, which I know some people do for data, and that's okay. But it can become unhealthy too, where if I didn't lose a pound, that depicted how hard I worked out in the gym the next day, and like it became like a cycle like that, and I lost weight too fast and did not form a healthy routine in doing so. Where this time it's going a little slower, but I'm also building a lifestyle on top of it so I can maintain that.
yeah,
So it's really just the approach and perspective that you take where you change your focus from I want to look like this girl on Instagram to I want to feel this way. I want to feel my age is my big thing. I want to feel like I'm 20, almost 27, instead of feeling like I'm not, like I'm in, my 50s. Sometimes when I'm trying to run after the dog or something outside, it's like I should not be this out of breath, those type of
yeah.
things. So that's the biggest thing for
And
me.
I think so. To recap, it's the subtle shift, right, between the why. Why am I doing it? When the why
Yeah.
shifts to a reason that is about something that actually benefits your life versus a why for people to perceive me as X, Y, and Z. Um,
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. When the why is, oh, I want to be strong so I can do, or
Yeah.
my body is the healthiest it's ever been. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I have to buy new clothes.
Yep.
It's not a big deal, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
it's shifting from, oh my goodness, this is not the way I wanted to look. I prided my, like, I've always been this size. Why am I my body changing?
Mm-hmm.
Versus this is the why. Like, it's good. And
Yeah.
not an image exterior based, how are people perceiving me kind of
Right.
mindset.
It's I want to be a healthy mother. I want to prepare my body to have children. Just those type of motivational factors compared to, oh, I really want to get down to a size 2.
Yeah.
Like, those, like, there's, you can see what's more
Yeah.
important and what should drive you more than the other.
Yeah. And there's also this level of like accepting reality, right? Like, bone is bone. You don't change bone, right?
Yeah.
God made such vast different sizes and shapes of humans. Like, I used to be
Mm-hmm.
super self-conscious of my feet. I have very large, skinny feet,
Mm-hmm.
like flippers. And I am not a particularly tall person. I'm tall. I'm like five. I'm tallish, but I'm not like tall. But my feet are like unproportional. And when skinny jeans were all the rage, like skinny, like like the ones that you had to pull off inside out. Uh-huh. Please don't bring those back.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Why not?
and like, I could never find a shoe that I felt good in because they were always like, I swore my feet looked just like so massive and everybody was paying attention to it. And like, in reality, like, God knows that I'm the little pretty clumsy human. He gave me big feet so I had something to stand on. But that's not going to change, right? Some people are
Mm-hmm.
broader, some people are narrower. Like, I'm never going to be able to carry, like, my body isn't made to, it's never going to get broader than this. Like, it will change some, but my shoulders will pretty much only ever be this big. My hips, my bones are only this big, right? God made your frame
Mm-hmm.
one way. Stop trying to change it into something you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the thigh gap was a big thing and might still be. I don't know. I know people are getting into lifting now where their quads are, bigger. But yeah, the thigh gap growing up, that was like something I really like. I saw all the time. Like that was the crave. Like everyone wanted the thigh gap.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but if you were growing up in the 2010s or later, yeah, it was all over Pinterest and Tumblr. If you had a Tumblr, it was all the
And I had
rage.
one and I had
And
no idea why you wanted one.
and that's like the thing, like that's bone
Yeah.
structure. Like even at my lowest weight, I still had thick
It all
thighs.
comes down
I
to like, what's the angle of your actual hips? How big is your actual
Yeah,
pelvis?
yeah. It's,
And also,
like that's important.
minor tangent, men's bodies and women's bodies are very different. And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
don't listen to men who tell you that you should look one way when they are only like, their bodies
Mm-hmm.
work differently than yours does. Like, they're like, you can look at a
We'll lose weight.
pelvis and know if it's a male or a woman. Like, it's not that hard. It's very easy, actually, right?
Yeah.
Accepting that people are different. And look for, if you are looking for advice when it comes to health and fitness and all of those things, look for people who look like you,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
structurally similar height,
Mm-hmm.
similar build, some similar ratios of height to build. Don't look for
Mm-hmm.
somebody who is completely separate from you and then expect to look like that. Just like you
Yeah.
can't
And
gain
just get
6 inches
good
of height, don't
at
expect to
right.
be able to change other things the same way.
Yeah, yeah, and angles are so important. Like, they can have their phones like a certain way in the mirror, and they can look like they're 5'8", 5'10", even like a woman, and really they're 5'5" in person.
Yeah.
Like, and like just the perception and social media. There's so many factors to what someone looks like. They could look so different in person. So the comparison thing can become very
Yeah.
like bad in that
And so be
regards.
really careful, right? When you're looking for even
Mhm.
fashion, like, things are going to look different on
Mhm.
different builds. Like, don't look at somebody who's 5'8" and when you're 5 foot and you want to look long and skinny like that, like, they have legs that are probably up to your like chest. You can't
Yeah.
change that. Not to be rude, but like that's not how that works. And so like
Yeah.
understanding too that like social media is in a lot of cases a lie or at best a highlight reel.
Yes. 100%. It's a bad trap you can get into.
Comparison.
Well, yes, comparison. And I mean, it's a what did they say? It's a thief of joy. And that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, whoever said that was very correct, and I don't know where it came
Yeah.
from.
I have no idea, so credit to whoever said that. But and I one more thing about like this fitness stuff. I 100% encourage, if you are trying to start a weight loss journey, whether you're trying to gain muscle and fat or to lose weight, follow someone that's credible. Follow resources that you can actually trust. One YouTube channel. I'm a big YouTube fan. One YouTube channel I specifically will recommend is Mind Pump Media. It's a group of personal trainers that have been in the industry for like a collection like of 50 years or something. They have a crap ton of experience and their videos are very informative and it's not very it's just good information. They're not trying to sell you anything. They do have their own programs, but they're not trying to sell you anything. It's actually good info.
When it's trendy and it's clickbaity, run away.
Yeah,
You're looking
yeah,
for things that are evergreen. The content really hasn't
mhm,
changed, right?
exactly. Yep.
My biggest pet peeve is as a physical therapist is when people are like wanting to specialize in injuries and athletes and I'm like you don't even have your personal training like an actual like real boots on the ground personal training like you have
Yeah.
no idea how that you can't learn that stuff unless you work with patients and working with someone as someone who's worked with primarily chronically ill patients or people with significant health concerns that impact the freedom of movement whether that was situational, post op. I worked with a lot of
Mhm.
vestibular patients, so they were dealing with insane bouts of vertigo and nausea. Like, that significantly impacts how you program things. And I am really
Mhm.
persnickety about that.
Yeah.
Form. Form is everything. Don't like,
Oh.
all right. So let's shift our focus from body image, makeup, body composition. Let's talk about wardrobe and style. We
Yes.
live in a world that went from 2 to 3 to 4 seasonal like fashion changes a year, right? They just
Mhm.
also happen to go with the seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter,
Yeah.
to 52 plus micro trends a week. We live in a world
Mhm.
where Shein and all these super, super like extreme fast fashion brands exist where you can get things dirt cheap to your door overnight, where trends are insane and they change nonstop. So how do we navigate or how do you navigate living in a world where it feels like the bar is always changing and what's in is always changing? And how do you fight the urge to keep up or do
Yeah.
you? And where have you found yourself when it comes to like style and fashion?
Yeah. Well, my sister, she's so good at keeping up with the trends. She always like know what's in. I will text her every now and then like is this like, I don't want to say boomer status, but am I aging myself like dressing this way? And I will do that every now and then. That's just coming from like a confidence thing where I'm like, I think this is pretty outdated. Like I probably should update my wardrobe a little bit. And I do. I still need to, luckily skinny jeans are kind of fading out and wider leg pants are coming in. So I need to update my wardrobe there. I've honestly, because I've been pretty much, I mean, the same size. Like I've always been on the chubbier side my entire life. So my wardrobe has never been in, honestly. Like I've never been with the trends too much. Um, but as I've gotten older, I kind of want to emphasize like I'm a woman, like I'm a woman. I'm a confident woman. I do find it important to, dress yourself up a little bit every day. I definitely don't do it every day. Working from home, I'll roll out of bed and I'll have my pajamas on all day. But I think it's important every now and then to put that makeup on, to put a dress on that is comfy and it's not suffocating you, but makes you feel kind of confident, because I think there is something to dressing up. It makes you feel better. So my goal with my new wardrobe is to buy things that don't feel suffocating, because I'm sick of the skinny jeans and the tighter dresses and shirts, and just things that I'm comfortable in. Because I've noticed, what it comes down to is you feel better the more comfortable you are. I don't want to be at an event and be thinking about my gut sticking out, because I'm a woman and I just think of those things. I don't want to think about what my body's looking like, because if my clothes is not suffocating me, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to be comfortable. I'm going to be more present. And for me, growing up with body image issues, that does have such a big impact on me. I don't know if that's completely normal, like within all women that haven't, grown up like I have. But yeah, I would say, that's kind of, I'm just going for comfort, but cute. I've noticed, emphasizing my midsection, like with like having, I mean, dresses that don't have any form to them are okay, but like when they're kind of cinched in the waist and fall down, kind of like A-line dresses and stuff, those flatter my body type. I'm not into the tight dresses or the bodycon dresses. I've never even been able, well, I'm able to wear them, but I've never been comfortable enough to wear them. Um, and so that's not my cup of tea. Where if you ask my sister, she loves that stuff. But yeah, I've never been into the super tight clothes other than the skinny jeans, and I'm so glad that trend's over or fading. But I mean, that's just kind of where I'm landing. Just comfort. Like I just bought a few dresses and they're flowy. They're not suffocating. They flatter my figure. And I know that when I go to Tennessee and wear them, that I'm not going to be thinking about it. I'm just going to slip it on and go on with my day. And that's what's most important, is you're not trying to, you're not tugging on your clothes all day.
Yeah.
That's like, buy clothes that fit you, not don't buy clothes that you're just trying to squeeze into. Buy clothes that fit you now.
Yeah. I've never been the
That's
one.
been the biggest thing.
I've never been the one to believe in like, oh my goodness, I have to tape my boobs up to fit in this dress or wear.
Exactly. I've been there. I really have. I've been that type of girl for like proms and stuff. Like, and it's just the beauty standards, and it's kind of ridiculous now, because you're thinking like, I was in high school worrying about that, but it's just how it is, especially like in public schools and everything. The standards that are put on you. And when you compare yourself to your friends,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like that's what comes out of that.
Comparison really
Oh
changes what you actually like. Um,
yeah, yeah, it is.
Learning what you actually like to wear is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I love me some jeans. I am the
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
queen of blue jeans. I like skinny-ish
Mm-hmm.
jeans. I like my boot cut jeans.
I see
I like
that.
my wide leg
Mm-hmm.
jeans. I like my skinny-ish. I do not like the pencil skinny, whatever the hell that was that we went
Mm-hmm.
through. Mm-mm.
Yeah. No.
Never again.
Mm-mm. Like a skater boy skinny, like
I
cut.
don't want to see
I
like
don't know.
every like movement in my jeans.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I love a pair of like flowy linen pants, a flowy shirt, a flowy dress. I don't wear a lot of super flowy shirts. I like things that fit pretty tightly. That also I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to. I don't like anything that I have to wear anything under. Right? Like if I'm worried that you're gonna see too much cleavage or anything, I'm not gonna buy it because I'm not about to wear a tank top
Mm-hmm.
underneath it or
I don't
worry
want to hear
about that.
about it.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the energy for that. I
Yeah.
don't tend to personal preference. I don't tend to buy anything that I have to wear a strapless bra with like
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. Like for like I have a couple of dresses that like the dress I wore to my sister's wedding. That one I had like that one I had to, but like I don't wear that dress every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like one off
Yeah.
occasions are one thing, but day in and day
Mm-hmm.
out you will never catch me in a
Yeah.
strapless bra because there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
no. And yeah, and I think it's also important. I've noticed. I don't think it matters as much as when you're younger, but as you get older, to kind of find the colors that you tend to gravitate towards and that you think you look good in. I mean, there's those color analysis that I actually think are pretty cool, and I
Yes.
think they are pretty true to, like there are certain colors that enhance your skin and your features, and I really want to get that done one day. But I don't know, like when someone gives you compliments, when you constantly get compliments in a certain color, like maybe that's like your color. Like maybe that's something you should buy more of because maybe it makes you feel good. Or if you hate the color, like don't buy it. But I feel like that's a good like thing to realize, like, oh, I really buy a lot of olive green clothes, like I must like that color and I must think I look good in
Yeah,
it, so that's going to be a color you like to wear. I don't know, I find the color analysis to be interesting, and I've been getting into that more.
they're super cool.
Yeah.
And I've done one several years ago, and my biggest thing is like, okay, there's colors on there that I don't like, and I don't even like how
Yeah.
that looks on me for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't worry about it. And there's colors that I technically are less good for me that they're shirts that I really like, right? And so I'll keep on wearing them. But for the most part, it's understanding and just being cognizant to what you buy. Like, don't buy something that you're not sure you like the way it looks.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been one to really keep up with trends, mainly because I shop primarily at the thrift store because I hate buying things full price, which means that the trends don't usually make it there till they're well over, which is a
Yeah.
blessing and a curse. Because when they come in, you're like, will never leave. This is coming to purgatory. Um, but that helps. And just, I'm pretty comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much what I'll rock for the foreseeable
Yeah.
future. I have a couple of outfits that I'm very comfortable in that I wear when I have to meet with like the board at work or go into something where I have
Mm-hmm.
to be in like dress pants. But for the most part, I am who I am and I'm very comfortable in it. I refuse
Yeah.
to wear high heels, one, because I think I would trip and break my neck, and two, because they're
Yeah.
very uncomfortable. Um,
Yeah.
so I have like 4 pairs of shoes I wear on repeat
Mm-hmm.
all summer and winter long, and that's great.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've noticed in trend, I think, at least at the beginning of this year, was kitten heels, like the pointy heels with like the little belt buckles. I think they're so cute, right? I would love to wear them, but I won't ever. You won't ever see me in them because I can't stand high
No,
heels. I cannot function well in them, so you'll never see me in them. But I think they're so cute, and if you can rock them, do it. If you wear high heels, do it. But yeah, that was one of the trends this year. And also like a burgundy, like I think one of the colors this year is like a burgundy color, and I love that. But I don't own a lot of burgundy. I'm like, I haven't, I can't rock that either because I don't own a lot. But I don't. I like to I like to see what they are and just see where my wardrobe's at. But I don't put a lot of pressure. On that. I don't like say, "Oh, I gotta go buy these high heels now because they're gonna be all over social media." Like I have to go do it. All my friends are gonna have them. Like I don't put that pressure
yes,
on myself because it's silly because it's gonna change again and it's in six
yeah,
months, and those shoes you just bought are gonna be out of style.
yeah.
You know.
And kind of on that note, like, there is no such thing as an Amazon must have. There is no thing as the it top of the summer. Like,
Hmm.
those things are marketing ploys. Whether it's the marketing
Yeah.
ploy from the clothing company itself or the marketing ploy from the influencer trying to get you to click their
Mhm.
affiliate link and buy it,
So
like, resist because it's not true. And
yeah.
just word of wisdom, especially when it comes to clothing, stick away from the
Hmm.
polyesters. They're not good for you. And
Hmm.
also just try to avoid the Shein and the Wish and whatever the
Hmm.
new thing that we have on the market
Yeah.
is, right? If it's
Yeah.
coming to you really cheap, you're not paying somebody ethically on the other end of the process, right? Somebody is getting majorly cut out of the equation financially, and they're not incentivized to use quality material. So
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
be aware of that.
I going to say, like, if you can't spend a lot of money on like that high quality cotton and linen clothes, at least like you can still save money and maybe find some good quality sources at thrift stores. At Walmart, their clothes has kind of gotten pretty better and more like trendy. They have some cute dresses, and then Target seems to also carry some really good, affordable,
100%
pieces of
cotton
clothing too.
pieces.
Yeah, and we have a Sierra here in Springfield, and they have awesome choices too that aren't too high. That are also usually cotton or linen, or wool, as Hannah's pointed out to me before. So yeah, I mean, you can still find affordable pieces because when you go online and search for 100% cotton dress or whatever, you're gonna run into sometimes like almost $100 dresses. And I don't know about you guys, but I can't spend that all the time on just a regular sundress. But I mean, you can find better alternatives at those stores, and you may hit the jackpot and find a 100% cotton dress that you really love.
Yeah, and if you're really nervous about finding things that fit, or you don't like thrift
Mm-hmm.
stores in general. So there
Yeah.
is some online thrift stores. There are like people on Instagram who thrift and sell secondhand. There are people on Instagram who will do that for you. And then
Mm-hmm.
an additional, there's like online actual thrift stores. So ThredUp is the one that most people know about. And on their website, you can truly search by shop, like by maker, and
It's
really
pretty cool.
filter things down. So if you don't know how something's going to fit, go to the real store, try it on, figure out what your size is. Okay, you want Madewell jeans. They're really nice. They're really expensive. Try them on, figure out what
Yeah.
your size is. Go online. If they don't have it, put a alert on it. When something pops in that size, they'll send you an email, and you can wait and find it at the price point you're willing to spend, uh,
Yeah.
without kind of having to rummage through the thrift stores if that's not your cup of tea. Because I know it's not everybody's. I love a thrift store.
Oh yeah, it's fun. You find all kinds of nice
Yeah.
treasures there, not just clothes.
Yes. And also like there's different thrift stores that are different qualities, right? You have your Goodwills, you have your Salvation Armies, you have higher end boutique or thrift stores. Like in Bloomington where I live, we have one that's attached to the hospital. That's where a lot of the like nice loft and things like that go back into the shopping center. I've gotten Madewell, I've gotten Loft, I've gotten Rag and Bone there. Like higher end
Mhm.
bands that I can usually
Yeah.
still get at a reasonable price point. So and I know your area, know what you're looking for. There's always the
Mhm.
Plato's Closets, except I find that Plato's Closets are a little too young for me, a little
Yeah.
too crop
Yeah.
top heavy for me.
Yeah.
But they have
Hmm.
adult versions as well, that not through the
Yeah.
same brand, but other spots. So kind
Yeah.
of just pay attention for that because,
Yep.
and you also don't need a whole lot of clothing. If you truly
No.
love clothing,
No.
that's one thing, but you
Yeah.
don't need that much. You'll find that you only
Hmm.
wear a small portion of your clothes
Yeah.
over
You'll gravitate towards a certain amount, like a certain shirt or a pair of jeans that you just love because they're so comfy. So it's like, do you really need like
6.
all kinds of different pairs of maybe like a couple pairs of those same jeans in a different color because you love them so much and you wear them, but you only need a
Yeah.
couple, you know.
There's that
But
age old trick that I think everybody's
mm-hmm.
recommended when it comes to clothing is flip all your hangers around, all your clothes the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And when you wear it, you put it on right side up like normal hanger. And after a set amount of time, anything the hanger is on backwards, you get rid of. Because guess what? You're not picking for it. You're not reaching for it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
shows you what you love and it shows you what you don't
Yeah.
love. And that matters.
Yep.
Wear what you
Mm-hmm.
love.
I need to do that. I need to do that because clothes is my issue. I have too much and I don't wear a majority of it. So that's a whole thing I have to do for myself here soon is go through all my lovely clothes.
Yeah. I,
So
I, I
yeah,
do I do love helping people get rid of clothes. It's quite fun. Uh,
yeah,
my
yeah,
mom doesn't always appreciate it. But I always
yeah.
tell her the
I'll call
truth.
Hannah. Yeah, I'll call Hannah and be like, Hannah, help me. Tell me if I need this or don't need
Yeah.
this.
And we'll do that and we'll kick the boys off to do something else.
Yeah. And she'll be like, you don't need that. Like I'll probably get rid of my entire
I'll be
closet
like,
and put
girlfriend,
something else.
I've already seen 3 shirts that look like that. You don't need a fourth. Pick one. Let's go.
Which is fine because I can just go shopping. It'll be an excuse.
We love an excuse to go to the Goodwill.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think we covered
I think
everything pretty
so.
well.
Well,
Um,
thank you for joining us and we hope to see you back.